And we are live for the 41st episode of the Bronx Bomber Battle podcast. I'm your host, Matt Loves Luigi, and tonight we got the full crew. Haven't had the full crew in a while. We got Alex,
Greetings.
we got Andrew,
Why, hello there.
and we got Vacation G. What up, G?
What's up?
G just chilling in luxury this weekend. The Yankees getting another series win. That's all they do. They just get series victories. They couldn't complete the sweep today. The Sunday game just ended like 20 minutes ago. Game they're down 7-1. Nearly they tie it. Doesn't the worst hop of all time happens in the 10th inning, and shit happens, but doesn't take away from the fact the Yankees taking 6 out of 7 on this road trip against, I think we could safely say, the two worst teams in baseball. But hey, you got to beat the bad teams, right? You don't lose to the bad teams as we saw last year. And yeah, the Yankees showing on top of the AL East. They're a nice and comfortable lead. And man, this team's looking good. Some good games this weekend. Obviously, we didn't get baseball Friday, another rain out, just another doubleheader Saturday. They take both games. It was a good weekend, boys. How are we feeling about this weekend series, about this road trip in general?
It ended on a really sour note with the
Very sour.
walk-off, but overall, I still feel like the Yankees are in a really, really good situation right now. Especially with they're playing so well right now. They are beating up on the bad teams, and they're in line to get Paxton back soon. Didi just started a rehab assignment, so they're going to get even better as time goes on.
Yeah, I mean, they did what they had to do, right? We said it last week. We've been saying it all year. You got to beat the bad teams. We got on Boston last year for it didn't seem like, they seemed like they were just cruising on the backs of the crap teams, but they beat the good teams when it mattered then too. So it's the kind of momentum you need over the course of the season. So you're never going to complain winning 6 out of 7.
Yeah, I think there's not much more to be said, really. They've won 10 out of 11 series at this point, and they haven't all been the best teams, but you can only play who's on your schedule. And like Alex said, they'll get stronger. Didi and Dellin is getting closer too. Like they're in a position to really get stronger as the season goes on.
Absolutely. Let's recap the series, right? The 3-game set, doubleheader Saturday. First game of the doubleheader, we had Jay Happ on the hill against Aaron, the guy that ruined Aaron Judge's season and pretty much the Yankees season last year, Eunice. He actually pitched pretty well. The Yankees usually hit pretty well against him, but he pitched pretty well the Saturday day game. But you know who pitched even better? Jay Happ. Well, probably his best start of the year, the best he's looked. He went 6 innings, 10 strikeouts, had that one blemish, obviously, the home run bug continues to just bite him in the ass and goes his 14th home run given up of the year. But that was his only mistake of the day, and he pitched a great game. The Yankees' offense was going. Clint, RBI double in the first, scored 2. Gio Urshela got a nice RBI in the 6th. Luke Voigt hit a ball. How far did it go, guys? 470?
Went to Venus.
Yeah,
I'm
it
thinking
was
more like 800.
the main reason I'm not like fully on board with StatCast is because I've seen so many home runs that the StatCast 460 or 4, and also like that wasn't 460. Like I've seen 450, 460 foot home runs. Like that ball was just absolutely demolished. I swore it was 500 feet, but it was Voigt had, I think he had like almost 100 people from his his fan club, family, and friends. It was the farthest home run Voigt's ever hit. It was a pretty cool moment. That gave the Yanks the lead. Tyro Estrada in the 8th inning, some nice insurance runs. He gets a 2-run double, puts the Yanks up 7-3. Ottavino and Sessa give the Yanks 3 innings of bullpen work, and the Yanks take game 1, 7-3. Guys, Luke Voigt, I think he's going to be all right. I think we were a bit worried about him a few weeks ago. He looks all right.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think I saw a lot of Luke Voigt at the beginning of the year, right? And man, that was home run number 13, RBI number 37. He just literally it seems like he walks every game, just gets on base. He's been just so awesome. Guys, how about Jay Happ? I mean, it really is tough to the 3-run home run given up. 6 innings, 2 runs still isn't all that spectacular. You kind of look back on it and say, it's nothing special, but I mean, he was awesome. He was great. No walks, like the 10 strikeouts. That's a season high. Andrew, what was working for Happ in this game?
Dude, I mean, he controlled his fastball well, and he worked up in the zone, worked to the corners really well. That's kind of what he lacked his last few outings. Most specifically, his last outing in Baltimore, kind of just left a lot of pitches right down the middle. He worked really well, and of course, the one mistake to Whit Merrifield that got blasted to tie the game. But I mean, I thought it was, like you said, his best start of the year. He had 10 strikeouts when all was said and done, and I could not believe the amount of vitriol and hate I was seeing on Twitter towards him when Merrifield hit that home run. I mean, like, people lost total perspective of how well he was pitching up to that moment. Did it suck that they had a 3-0 lead and in an eye blink it was gone? Yes, of course. But he pitched a phenomenal game, and that should not be discredited.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, the home run bug. It's something it's very difficult to get over. We saw Tanaka that one year where he gave up like 35 home runs. All the numbers will be good, right? They were even saying Hap's numbers before the game, and like strikeouts per 9. He's not really walking a lot of guys. His whip's pretty solid, but man, you just can't be giving up a home run or two every start. It really kills you, and really that doesn't take away from the fact that, I mean, he still got the win, obviously, because, Voit gets a 2-run homer in the next inning. But, yeah, I mean, just right away, Yankees Twitter turning on him after, like, yes, it is the Royals, but he was flawless through 5 innings. And, he runs into a little trouble in the 6th, finishes the inning. It's no big deal. 6 innings, 3 runs from a guy like Hap, he'll take that every time. Let's move on to the second. Anything else we got from the first game of this doubleheader? That's 2 doubleheaders in the past week, man. That's a lot. And the Yankees won both of them, but hey, Baltimore and Kansas City, it's 2 good teams to have doubleheaders against, right? Oh man, let's see. Next game we had the bullpen day, the daunted bullpen game that the Yankees still really, it seems like the Yankees, every time they do a bullpen day, it never starts out well, but they usually like get it together by the 3rd or 4th inning. But this one, Chad Green was the opener. Andrew's favorite reliever. I think he has him first on his bullpen trust list coming later.
Number one.
Alert. Chad Green just 3 hits in the first inning. He gives up an RBI double. That's all he went. It was just 1 inning. The Yanks offense, though, just once again picking up the bad start, just taking the lead back. Austin Romine gets a 2-run hit. Cameron Maben, DJ LeMahieu all coming through. Yankees were up 5-1 after 2. Maben got another RBI single in the next inning in the 3rd. It was 6-1. Chance Adams got a lot of work there. Right? Doubleheader. You got the extra guy. He threw 4 innings, gave up 3 runs, but got his first big league win because the Yankees, they held the lead, right? It got to 6-5 in the 9th after Chappie, got a little reckless with trying to keep Billy Hamilton close. Sac fly makes it 6-5, but at the end of the day, the Yanks hold on and win both of the doubleheader. It was a good win, but goddamn, I still don't know why Chad Green was the opener. Like, again, it didn't work the first time. He really hasn't pitched well at all since he's come back, except for the first appearance he was back, and here he was back at the opener. But a bit questionable, if you ask me. But hey, it worked out, right? The Yankees scored 5 runs in the next couple innings.
Yeah, I feel like having Green as the opener, it's pretty much like a Boone strategy of just trying to find some way.
You're making him face the top of the lineup. It's just like so dumb to me.
It's dumb, but at the same time, like, what else can you do?
Yeah,
you can't bring him into a high leverage situation. The last time they brought him into a low leverage situation against the Angels, and he blew that a while ago. So like, there's nothing they can do with Green at this point. So I feel like that's why they have him as the opener. Just like maybe try and get him some work a little bit because they have no other options at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I think they like how his stuff plays up, right? But I mean, he just didn't execute again. I believe he got the first 2 men of the inning out, right? And then 2 singles, and I guess we're gonna call it a double. That ball that kind of that Clint flopped at, and he ended up throwing the guy out at the plate to only hold it to 1 run. But I mean, he kind of he made the mechanical change, holds his hands up higher now, but he's still throwing the ball straight as an arrow, and he doesn't use his slider enough. What is the purpose? Like, what is his game plan?
I feel like once Dellin Betances comes back and you have like the full bullpen squad, like you'll have like more leeway to bring him in and like whatever as low a leverage situation as you possibly could, right? If you're, if CC doesn't get out of the fifth inning or, whenever, if you need to do a bullpen day, but kind of like Alex said, I feel like Aaron Boone is really just trying to find out whenever he could possibly bring him into a game where he'll be effective. And the first inning, if he gives up a run like he did yesterday, then you have as much time as possible to get it back, which they did pretty quickly.
Absolutely. Also want to shout out Holder, Canley, and Britton all an inning of work in that second game. So the Yankees they used that pretty much that entire bullpen in that second game, which kind of explains Sunday's game, right? The Yankees going for the sweep, going for 7 in a row, or I believe they were going for 8 in a row. It's Domingo Germán on the mound. Everything's looking good, facing off against Danny Duffy, and wow, probably Germán's worst. We said it was probably his best he's looked all year. This might be the worst Germán's looked all year. You're going to have those starts, right? He's looked great in every other start, pretty much. But, man, 4 home runs given up by Germán on Sunday. 2 were back-to-back. A little bit questionable to bring him back out for that 5th inning. You can kind of tell he didn't. I get why, because you expended so much of your bullpen with the doubleheader. You wanted to get an extra inning out of Germán, especially when you don't even have an off day tomorrow. So I understood it, but in hindsight, it definitely wasn't the right move. The Yankees did score first this game. Clint Frazier, who had 3 hits on the day, had a really nice day, gets the RBI single, makes it 1-0. But yeah, the Royals would take a 7-1 lead in this one after 5, but. You can never count this Yankees team out. Gleyber Torres, home run to dead center in the 6th, a 3-run shot, makes it 7-4. And then, entering the 9th, Ian Kennedy's on the mound with a 3-run lead, and that didn't stop the Yanks. Urshela and Frazier both get base hits. LeMahieu scores them after a Voit walk, makes it 7-5. Aaron Hicks gets the game-tying hit, 2-run single, 7-7. The Yanks they force extras. Nestor Cortez almost walked home the game-winning run, but he gets out of it after loading the bases in the bottom of the 9th. But Jonathan Holder on the mound in the bottom of the 10th inning. There's 2 outs. Urshela had just made a nice play at third, and then he gets probably the most wicked hop I've seen this year in a Yankee game. I mean, it was just an absolutely brutal hop. The ball went completely over his head. It trickles into the outfield. Run scores, game over. Yankees lose. Bit, like Alex said, bit sour end to an otherwise awesome road trip. Especially after coming back from down 6, tying it up. Shit happens, right? Because as great of a defender Urshela is, there's really nothing you could do when a ball just hits. It looked like it hit a rock or something. I don't know. I have to go back and look at it a few more times, but. Man, yeah, that was a real bummer way to end the series. But like Andrew was saying, I mean, you really can't be too mad at all after that game. They're down 7-1. It looks like kind of a dead game. And what do? They fight their way back, right? This team always seems to put up a fight, even if they don't get the win, and that goes a long way, man. But at the end of it, in hindsight, it's probably not the worst thing that the game didn't extend, right? Your bullpen was already pretty worn out. So the game only going 10 innings probably helps you in the long run. But
and tomorrow's game's at 1:00 too, so they don't even have. It's a quick turnaround.
Exactly. It's obviously Monday's Memorial Day, so you got all the day games. But yeah, the Yankees they nearly sweep the road trip, but they can't quite finish it off. But yeah, Andrew. Give me your kind of just quick thoughts about this series in general. What do you think the Yankees, to be honest, I didn't think the Yankees – I thought this was going to be a letdown series. At the end of a road trip, you're just coming off a sweep. You're looking good. And, they proved me wrong. They just win another series.
Yeah, I mean, I think on the backs of yesterday alone, you'd call it a win. If they were able to take today's game, it would just be gravy. But to go out and just establish yourself against a weaker opponent, take 2 games in one day. Obviously, you got the big home run from Voit. You got the good outing from Happ that ultimately did lead to a win because of Voigt's home run. Chance Adams pitched very well. I mean, he was tagged with 3 earned runs, but Gardner and Frazier did him no favors in the outfield. I think that's the biggest takeaway from the weekend, and also that the team never quits.
Mhm.
Rallying from 6 runs down with 3 innings or 4 innings to go, even though it ultimately fell a little short. Those are the takeaways, regardless of the results, and the results were good, taking 2 of 3.
Yeah, I think you see a lot of promising things, like all throughout the roster. Domingo Herman not having a good start is obviously not what you want to see, considering, he got off to a good start last year and then kind of tailed off. But Jay Happ had probably his best start. You had, the team scoring runs, not just because Gary Sanchez was blasting home runs, but Voit had a home run, LeMahieu had RBIs, Clint Frazier continued to hit after the Baltimore series. Like they had, the doubleheader, and they were able to make it through, win both of those games, and were able to battle back and keep that feisty comeback kind of attitude that they've been working on all season. So a lot of promising things that hopefully will continue as the season goes on and as they get healthier. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, the one thing that I think is really special about them that was really put on display this weekend is that basically everyone on the roster contributes like to the team in order to make it win. Like they had a double header yesterday and then they had a 1 o'clock game today, and it was basically every single person on the roster had some sort of role to play in the last 2 days, and they still managed to win both games yesterday, and they almost won today. So it's just it it really shows like how different this team is from the team last year, because at least from what I saw, like the team last year, they had their set starting lineup, and then they had their few good relievers, and then and their starters. But after that, it wasn't. They didn't have much. They didn't have many players to go to. So
Right, like look how much they struggled when Judge went down. I mean,
Exactly.
and we had Shane Robinson there, who's next to worthless. But I mean, you still have 8 other guys in the lineup, and it seemed like when Judge went down, that the entire offense took a huge hit. Whereas this year, one guy goes down. I mean, at this point, they've lost 3, 4, 5 guys. Some have obviously come back, like Gary, but there's always a new guy every day picking up the slack.
Yeah, absolutely. Really every man contributes, next man up all season, and yeah, it's worked out well so far, right? Until all the main guys get back. But guys, let's go give our player of the weekend. I'll start. I'm gonna go Jay Happ. I think he pitched so well. He was just this. Look, I know he pitched well against the Mariners when he only gave up like 1 hit, but he only threw 5 innings in that start. He was almost at 100 pitches. He was only through 82 pitches through 6 innings. The 10 strikeouts. I mean, he just looked so in control. I'm not going to let that home run ruin me giving him player of the weekend. He deserves it. He started us off very nicely. Got it the win. Jay Happ's my player of the weekend. G, who's your player of the weekend?
All right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with I guess today's quote unquote hero, Nestor Cortez, and it's not, I guess, the most exciting pick, but Herman had, he made it through 5 innings. He didn't have a great start, but especially after the doubleheader yesterday, he needed someone, a hero from somewhere, someone to give the bullpen a rest, and Nestor Cortez took the ball and pitched 4 scoreless innings and allowed the team, to rest all their top guys in the bullpen, and also allow the team to come back and, tie the game and have a chance to win it. So, throughout the season, you need those guys, those kind of random unsung guys to step in and help you, have a chance to win games. And Nestor Cortez did that. And especially with, some more challenging series coming up in the next couple weeks, having those guys, fresh and healthy is going to be important for winning.
Yeah, and Nestor Cortez really, he hasn't impressed, I don't think, any of us up to this point. But yeah, for him to just give us 4 innings of work to just really save the bullpen. I mean, if he implodes and he's just terrible, I mean, we're gonna have to use somebody else, right? It's just he really saved the bullpen. What's up, G?
Today was his first work in about a week or so. So to come
Yeah.
off, rusty and pitch pitch well was a huge boost.
Exactly. Look, they were the reason Herman went back out for that fifth innings. They were looking for him to eat innings, and the reason Cortez was out there. I think some people were a little bit angered at that, him being out there in the tie game in the ninth inning. Well, they're just trying to eat innings. It's like the Yankees losing this game. Like this is one of the instances where I feel like a lot of Boone haters would say, oh, he's not going, he's not going for the win. But, man, when you play 2 double headers within a week, man, like you could afford to drop a game, to just to bring out a pitcher who probably isn't MLB level yet, but it's worth it in the long run. It's not the end of the world. You lose the first game of the road trip, right? And the 7th game. So, Andrew, who was your player of the weekend?
I'm going to go with Clint Frazier, and I just want to preface, of course, that
Clint Frazier in the outfield. Clint Frazier in the outfield. Clint Frazier in the outfield.
Yeah. Clint obviously struggles defensively in right field, and there's no getting around that. But he did go, I believe, 5 for 11 this week, walked 3 times. He's been a very, very solid contributor in the lineup. When he came back from the injury, he was struggling mightily, and we thought we were going to get Stanton back, and we thought, well, Clint's going to go back down to AAA because he's clearly not right. That burst he had earlier in the year was maybe just a little bit of a fluke, but now that he's gotten back to regular playing time, he looks like he's going to be a solid hitter in the middle to the end of the lineup, and we need that with Stanton's setback. So I really, really liked what I saw from Clint Frazier. Today he had 3 hits, of course, but the whole weekend.
Alex, player of the weekend. You're the last one up. Who do you got?
All right, so my player of the weekend is Luke Voigt, and see, it's the numbers on paper would not really tell it because Voigt only went 2 for 12 this weekend with 2 walks, but the home run he hit yesterday in the first game really was a big pick-me-up, I think, for the Yankees because, Happ had just given up a 3-run home run. The game had just been – it was 3-3, and then like that put them ahead and ended up, being the game-winning hit. And then today he didn't really do anything in the second game, but then today he had 2 walks, and his walk in the 9th inning really was huge because he had 2 on, 2 out, and worked a really, really good at bat, and that allowed Hicks to come up and tie the game. And
yeah, it was first and second, so his walk put the 2 runs that ended up scoring in tying position.
Exactly,
in scoring position. Excuse me.
And that's just one thing I've noticed a lot from Voigt is that he's been working a lot of really good at bats lately. Like I got on him a lot earlier on in the season because he basically, I remember the series in Houston, even though he hit a home run, he was just working really, really bad at bats. But now it's like we're further on in the season, and he just looks really comfortable up there every time he steps to the plate. He takes close pitches. He walks a lot, and he really, really is a force at the top of the Yankees lineup.
Yeah, Voigt is just having such a great year. He's a clear all-star at this point. Well, we were going positive, good vibes. Alex, what pissed you off this weekend? What really grinded your gears this weekend?
I'm just gonna go for the obvious right here, and then I'm just gonna say that hop that just ended the damn game.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that pissed us all off.
I would not have been angry if, say, Holder gave a line drive to center field.
If Merrifield just squared one up and hit.
Yeah, exactly. But this was a ground ball to third that Gio probably would have made the play on, and it hit something in the ground and bounced over his head, and because of that, the Yankees just lost.
I want to see that rock that ball hit.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's really what pissed me off.
What pissed you off this weekend?
So I'm going to say, I know that he's, very fast, and speed is a good trait to have. It causes problems. But my thing that pissed me off was Yankee pitcher struggling with Billy Hamilton because he's not a good hitter, at all. And, the Chapman, we'll talk more about it, I guess, in the bullpen trust list. Chapman had an error and Hamilton caused some issues. And, Holder today with, he ultimately won the game, Billy Hamilton, but, he's not a good hitter. And, the Yankee pitcher struggling and having him ultimately come around and score runs in these games is really very irritating.
Yep, Billy Hamilton's speed, very irritating. Very,
He's a
when he
225 hitter though, so
Yeah, he gets on base though every once in a while. When he that's the thing when he's doesn't get on base a lot. So when he does, he's he's going. Really wreaks havoc. Andrew, what pissed you? What didn't piss Andrew off this weekend? But what one thing pissed you off this weekend?
All right, we got irony alert coming in here. Yankees Twitter, bar none, was the thing that pissed me off the most. I'm not going to get on anything the team did on the field. I mean, they took 2 to 3 against struggling team. You're going to lose a game every once in a while like they did today. But the utter meltdown I saw on the interwebs when Hap gave up the home run, people getting on Boone for bringing in Holder there when he's trying to preserve some arms that we might need tomorrow and throughout the Padres series, and the decisions Boone made, I can't even get the words out because it makes me mad thinking about it. I mean, just like the lack of intelligence some people have, and I get they're angry and I get they want to vent, and I've been there. I've been there worse than some other people that I saw this weekend. I'm not going to openly admit that, but trying to keep a calm head this weekend, the stuff I saw was a little aggravating, really aggravating.
Yeah, just people like getting on, but like, oh, Cortez is still in. I'm like, yo, we had a fucking double header yesterday. Like we used almost our whole bullpen in that second game. Like, well, what do you expect? People are never going to be happy. This team could be undefeated. There'd still be people complaining. What pissed me off this weekend? I know he was one of our player of the weekends, but man, Clint Frazier's defense is just so bad. He that ball today when he just didn't call for LeMahieu, and LeMahieu just literally ran all the way to right field, and Clint ended up making the catch, but it just
how the hell did he catch that?
I don't know, man. I was about to say he ended up making the catch, but I probably shouldn't have. He dropped a routine fly ball too earlier in Sunday's game. I get this stat from Katie Sharp. This was entering today. Clint Frazier, or entering Sunday's game, I should say. Clint Frazier was rated as the worst outfielder in the MLB according to StatCast. His outs above average is -9. And I think it's something about how the balls Clint has gotten hit to him this year have an 85% catch rate, and he's at 65%, which is just by far the worst in the league. So, I mean, his outfield, it's really a problem. And it's such a shame because the dude just mashes. He's such a great hitter. But it's kind of, it's very similar to Andujar last year, right? It's like this guy just can't play the field at an MLB level at this point. And man, I knew he'd been doing very bad in the outfield. I've been watching the games and have seen him misplay and drop several fly balls. So it wasn't a surprise to see that, but I didn't realize he was the worst defensive outfielder by a lot. It's very concerning. That's what pissed me off this weekend. I don't know. It's Go on, Jay.
I feel like Clint, if he had an everyday position, if he was just going to be the left fielder or just the right fielder, then over time he might get at least a little bit better. But I'm also really hoping, just as much as I am thinking that that could happen, because he's definitely got a ceiling. He's really not very good.
Yeah. Well, that's what pissed us off this weekend. We were going to talk about our Twitter mentions a bit, but I think Andrew already got into that. Yeah, man, just people being mad that oh, how are you pitching with Merrifield? It's I don't know, man. People really do overthink things. It just amazes me. Everything's not that complex, guys. Well, Yankee injury news and notes. Guys, we got some good injury news. Alex mentioned it at the start of the show. Didi Gregorius is, I think Aaron Boone said, he should be less than 20 days away from returning.
He's going to be promoted to AAA on Tuesday, and should only be there for 2 weeks maximum.
He hit a home run in his rehab assignment game today. He's going to be probably in AAA for a couple weeks, and then he should be back in the Bronx. We're getting Didi back. Obviously, we've been fine without all the main guys, but man, it's going to be good to see Didi back. I miss that guy. I miss his tweets too. I think we've all missed the Didi tweets, and I just know the first game he's back and he's playing, he's on the team. I know we're gonna get that DD victory tweet, and that thing's gonna explode. The thing's gonna have like 10,000 retweets. It's gonna be awesome. James Paxton, he was able to throw from the side, do some long toss and fielding drills on Sunday. He's flying to New York tonight, and they'll meet with him tomorrow to figure out whether he can join the rotation Wednesday at home against San Diego. So hopefully we see him Wednesday, right? But who the hell knows? Betances starting to throw long toss from 150 feet. He's making progress. Obviously, we mentioned Stanton had the step back. We don't know the latest on him at this point, but overall, starting to look up, guys. We're starting to get a bit healthier.
Didn't Boone say that Dellen's going to get on a mound within a few days?
Yeah, I think he did. I think he did say that. So hopefully we'll have Betances back within the month. That DD news got me hyped though, man. 20 days. We could be seeing DD in 20 days or less. I mean, fingers crossed, obviously, but man,
I really didn't think that we were going to see DD until like August in some circumstances.
Well, remember
at least until after the All-Star break. I don't think anyone thought there was any chance he would come back before.
Well, remember when DD said like, oh, like they were asking before the season even started, oh, when do you think DD's going to be back? And he was saying, oh, like May. And hey, I mean, he is playing in when obviously the rehab games, but he is playing baseball, and here it is in late May. So he was partially right.
I think it's funny that DD had arguably one of the like most serious injuries of all the injuries that have happened, and his is the one that's like going completely fine with no setbacks, knock on wood, but no setbacks or anything whatsoever. They're like every single time Boone has talked about it, he's like, yeah, it's been completely fine.
I think that actually makes sense if you think about it, though, because when you have lingering nags and pains and whatnot, that's usually where there's room for something to go wrong. Like Didi's was clean cut. Like he needed the surgery, and then how many pitchers have had it over the last 20 or whatnot years and come back fine. So there was a very clear process for how to deal with Didi's. Whereas you have something like Tulo where something keeps popping up. Obviously, Jacoby Ellsbury where something keeps popping up. Like you don't know what the hell you're doing, and that I feel like leaves room for setbacks.
Yeah. Really, though, it's like DD's was really one of the most serious, and with all the injuries, you almost forgot about his injury. Like, oh yeah, DD's hurt, but he'll be back. He's recovering. It's almost like the least of your concerns because really, it's like that's the scariest thing about injuries, right? Is like the unknown. Like Judge's injury, that could just be a lingering, annoying injury for the rest of the year. Whereas DD's injury, you kind of have like a more specific timetable on it, and you kind of know that he's probably going to be all right because it's such a common surgery. But guys, we ready to give out our bullpen trust list?
Get into it.
Let's do it.
All right, Andrew, start us off. Give us your 5. And we're not going to give us the last week because I don't think Andrew and Alex had a bullpen trust list from last week. So just give us your top 5 bullpen.
I wasn't on for the post Orioles series. So last week I had Holder, Ottavino, Kahnle, Britton, Chapman, 5-1. I'm going to keep that pretty much intact. The caveat with Holder at 5 is just that he's good for 1 inning. When he gets stressed to a second inning, things seem to come apart like they did on Thursday against Baltimore. And today he should have gotten out of that inning without that nasty hop. I mean, that was a ground ball at third base that would have ended the inning. I'm going to keep Chapman at 1. The only change really for me is that I'm going to drop Kahnle down to 4 and move Ottavino up to 3. Kahnle gave up that big home run in Baltimore. But that's really the only major change. I mean, those top 4 guys are all pretty interchangeable.
Yeah, good. Good list, Andrew. I like it. Alex, bullpen trust list.
All right, so mine's going to be very different from Andrew's. You
have Nestor Cortez first, don't you?
No, I have Joe Harvey first. Is that okay?
Good.
Holder at 5, Ottavino at 4, Britton at 3, Chapman at 2, Kahnle at 1. Kahnle, he gave up the home run in Baltimore, but he's still so nasty. And like I trust him the most out of all the relievers right now. Having Chapman second kind of pains me because I'm on the record as saying I really have never trusted Chapman coming into a game.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been really good. And like yesterday, he did give up the run. He did give up a run. It was unearned, but that was because of his own error, which don't get me started on that. But yeah, I think I am gaining a little trust in him. I just still am uneasy whenever he comes into a game. And then Britton and Ottavino at 3 and 4, they could really be interchangeable because they've both been fantastic this year. Britton's been a lot better of late, and Ottavino he's been good. He hasn't been giving up really that many runs. He's just he gives up walks and he will give up a hit. He'll just allow base runners. That's the only thing. He'll just manage to get out of it, which will raise our blood pressures, but overall it's you still trust him. So yeah, that's my trust list.
All right, G, give us your top 5.
I think my list is basically the same as it was last week. I'm going to go Chapman at 1. And I mean, I know he's had his, he has his moments. He's a little dicey sometimes, but he's been pretty damn good for most of this year. And then I'm going to go Canely at 2. His hold on that spot is a little less strong as it was a week or so ago. He's had a couple, gave up the home run against the Rays. He gave up a home run against the Orioles. He's still been really, really good, and I think he's going to continue to be really, really good as the season goes on. Ottavino at 3 and Britton at 4. Ottavino, other than that one thing like a month ago at this point, he's been really awesome. His ERA is $1.48 for the season. He's pushing to move up the list, and Britton, even though I griped about him, is also pushing to move up the list. Britton hasn't given up a run since May 3rd at this point. ERA is down to 2.3. And, I mean, he was as talented. He was as good a closer as they come. So I definitely think he has the potential to keep going. I hope he does. And Holder at 5 is going to stay there. I thought about moving someone else in there, but Holder has been pretty okay for most of the season when Aaron Boone doesn't send him out for a second inning of work. So, and today I'm not really going to fault him, even though he walked Billy Hamilton, which is, as I said before, very annoying. But, Gio Rochelle got eaten alive by Hop when he got a ground ball, and there's really nothing you can do about that. So Holder at 5, and my list is basically the same. Could change, but it's good for now.
All right. I have a new number 1 this week. I'm going to go Chappie number 1. I know he had a little dicey of an outing his last time out, but 3 saves on the week overall. I just really like how it looks. I'm waiting for that blow up outing. Really hasn't happened yet. So for now, Chapman is 1. Otto's 2 because Ottavino he's really in a groove right now. He's been awesome his last few times out. Canely 3. Those 3 guys, you could have any of those 3 at 1, and no one really could argue. All 3 have been great. Canely did give up the home run, but he came into a tough situation. Shit happens, right? You're not gonna be perfect all the time, as we've seen. Britton at 4. I almost feel bad having Britton at 4 because I really like how Britton's pitched this year, but man, the 3 guys ahead of him have just been that much better. It's really a testament. But man, I think we all have Holder 5, and man, the drop off from 4 to 5 after you have the big 4, then it's just like you have the choices of Jonathan Holder and like Luis Sessa, and that's really it. Or if you want to be bold and put Nestor Cortez at 5 or Harvey or someone else, but it's Holder at 5. The Yankees bullpen though really is just like we expected all year. When they started off really poorly, I think none of us were freaking out that much because you just knew they would figure it out. They would find it, and they found it, man. It's a big part. It's why this team's been the best team in baseball over the past month and a half.
Quick note. Let's pour one out for Jake Barrett, who went on the IL today with elbow inflammation, which is pretty indicative of what's coming there.
Yeah.
So I don't think we'll ever see him in pinstripes again. So just quick shout out for Jake Barrett.
One of the
his pain too, which is never what you want to hear.
Yeah, just one of the many random Yankee pitchers that will make an appearance with the Yankees this year. Well, let's finish the show off with previewing the San Diego series, right? Guys, wait. Before we even get into the series, are the Yankee fans going to boo Manny Machado? Like, is that going to happen? I think it's gonna happen, right?
100%.
Like 100%, they're just gonna boo the hell out of him, which is so dumb. Pretty
Makes
on
no
brand.
sense. Like
Makes
he said,
no
he wanted
sense.
this set of money,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the Yankees were
No,
like, "I'm not interested."
Trust me, that's why I'm laughing because it really doesn't make sense. There really was never a formal offer out there, but hey, that's the nature of Yankee fans, right? Yeah, they're gonna boo the hell out of him, man. It's gonna be pretty funny. But yeah, it's a 3-game set. I think David Hale supposed to start on Monday, Monday afternoon game manager.
They haven't announced it. Actually, we've been
Yeah.
on the pod here during the post.
They probably announced it by now.
Yeah, maybe Boone said something.
Well, for right now, the Yankees, it's TBD for Monday and Wednesday. They're waiting on Paxton for Wednesday. They're hoping he could start then. It's probably going to be Hale Monday. But guess what? We got a Tanaka Tuesday on Tuesday. Also, the Padres, I'm pretty sure, are starting 3 lefties this series. And
They are not anymore.
yeah. Oh, they're not. They changed
No.
that? Okay.
So they scratched Paddock today, and he's starting on Wednesday now.
Oh
Okay.
God! Wait, Wednesday?
Yeah.
Why would they give him so many extra days?
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
that's
interesting.
very, very
He's
interesting.
too scheduled to pitch on Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, yeah. So Padres right now are 28 and 25. They've had a decent year. Manny Machado, not exactly lighting the world on fire, but their offense overall is pretty good. Hopefully the Yankees don't get shut out, right? It's how many games has it been since the Yankees been shut out? They said this on the broadcast the other night, and I was pretty amazed by it.
It's like
Been a long
100
enough time.
The last time they got shut out was when the Red Sox were in New York in like the beginning of July, and it was the
Oh, man, that
Sonny
was
Gray
awful.
blow-up outing
Yeah, fuck that guy.
when Sale shut him out.
Yeah,
That
you're
was the
absolutely
last
right.
time it
Mhm.
happened.
Well, Matt Strom, who I think is getting to start Tuesday, I believe he's had a really nice year.
He's starting tomorrow.
He's Monday, yeah,
okay,
and then
yeah.
Lauer. It's
And then
Tuesday.
Lauer and then Paddock.
Mhm. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how the Yankees face off against the Padres. But really, that's such a brutal turn of the fact that they have to travel. They're traveling back to New York right now,
Mhm.
and then they have to have the 1:00 game, obviously because it's Memorial Day. That's just what
Especially if
happened
they're
on
playing
Memorial
3 games in 2 days.
Day. Mhm,
Yeah, and their rotation is right at its underbelly right here.
Yeah.
This is CC's spot tomorrow. That's why it's probably going to be hell unless they make a move like right now.
Yo, Keuchel to New York tomorrow? Question mark.
Dude, don't even get me started. If they sign
get-
Keuchel tonight, he's not pitching until July.
Andrew, really quick, since we're on it now, just give 1 minute on why signing Dallas Keuchel is the dumbest thing ever.
I think I've gone through this more than I want to get into on my Twitter account over the past few weeks, and I even wrote an article actually about it about a week or two ago.
Quick plug.
But it literally makes no sense to add this guy right now because of all the noise came up when CC got hurt. Like CC's injury is going to cost him 1, maybe 2 starts. Keuchel won't be ready until CC's already back. He won't be ready until Paxton is already back. Unless there's another serious injury in the next week or so that, we really have to game plan the next month. How are we going to get through all the games against Boston coming up in June and July? Like then maybe, you make a huge move. But Keuchel hasn't had a full spring training with the team because he's not signed. He can do whatever he wants on his own right now, but he's not pitching like he would be if he was with the team. By the time you add this guy, and I mean, of course, it doesn't make sense to sign him before next week anyway, when the draft is. But holy hell, man, that's my quick rant.
Yeah, and the same goes for Mad Bum. Look, I was a proponent of getting Mad Bum last year when he had a couple years of control, but this year, for people to still want him, come on, man. He's not worth it. Some other team will probably pick him up. The Yankees starting pitching is the least of their concern, man. Their starting pitching has been great. People are stupid. That's the moral of the story. Anything else, guys, before we wrap this up?
Someone would ask for, or the Giants would ask for a ton from the Yankees for Mad Bum. 1, because they're the Yankees, and 2, because of what he's done, even if what he would be in the next few years isn't really that promising.
Yeah,
right, and because he's young enough that he has the no trade clause, and of course they would like to, ideally probably re-sign him long term to keep him in San Francisco for most of, if not the rest of his career, to let go of that. That's going to be, the bigger ask than the value he provides right now.
Well, guys, come on. He pitched really well in the 2014 World Series.
5 years ago, and people still talk like they want to give him the ball in Game 7 against the Red Sox. Like, I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
Let's give Matt Bum
maybe
the
he
ball
goes to
in Game
Philly and
7.
it ends up being awesome. I don't know, but like, damn, man.
Yeah, give me Nails Tanaka in October all day over Mad Bum at this point. I'll say it. Even I mean, man, I feel like Paxton's got that big game pitcher in him.
Yeah.
Yes, Paxton hasn't pitched in the playoffs, but I feel
Mhm.
like in
Thanks,
the game against
Seattle.
the Red Sox early in the year when he had 12 strikeouts in 8 innings, like
when he had 100 strikeouts in 8 innings. Yeah,
that was
great.
awesome.
approximately.
Well, that's going to be it for this episode of the Bronx Bomber Battle podcast. We're going to be recording the first State of the Yankees pod later tonight. It should be fun. A quick review of the season so far. It should be a fun show. Talk about how injury riddled this team's been. Maybe we'll go through every single injury that's happened. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if we want to have a 3-hour show, so not sure about that. But for Luigi, for G, for Andrew, and for Alex, this was the Bronx Bomber Battle podcast. We'll see you guys next time.